Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you what you need to do to get a high score. So let's get into it. Basically, your writing task 2 is going to be scored on 4 separate band descriptors. These are basically different categories on which your essay is going to be assessed. The first band descriptor is task achievement. The second is coherence and cohesion. Next is grammatical range and accuracy, and the last one is lexical resource. This is just vocabulary. Each one of these band descriptors account for 25% of your grade. So when the examiners are grading your essay, what they do is they assign you a score between 0 to 9 for each of these different categories. Then they average out this score, and that becomes the total score for your writing task 2. Now let's take a look at these band descriptors in a bit more detail. So the first thing that you need to know is that these band descriptors are an important resource for preparing for your exam. And the reason for that is that these band descriptors will give you a better sense of how IELTS examiners evaluate your essay and how they assign you band scores for your writing tasks. When you properly understand the criteria for these band descriptors, you will know exactly what you need to do and what you shouldn't do to get a certain score. So let's take a look at what these band descriptors look like. Now this here is the official band descriptors list by the British Council. I highly recommend that you take a look at this list and that you properly understand what you need to do to get a certain band. This list will tell you exactly what you need to do in each category to get a certain band. For example, if you want to get a band 9, then these are the things that you need to be doing. If you want to get a band 8, then these are the things that you should be doing. And on it goes for each of the band scores listed here. So I will provide you with a link to this so that you can read this list in your own time. However, for now, what I've done is I've simplified all of this for you. Basically, I've summarized everything that you should be doing to get a band 7 or higher on your writing task 2 essay. So let's take a look at that. So first, we're going to take a look at what you need to do to score well on the task achievement category. So to get a high score on the task achievement category, firstly, you need to address all the different parts of the essay. This means that you should provide all the information that the question is asking you for. Next, you must present a well-developed response to the question with relevant, extended, and supported ideas. Basically, you need to develop a full response to the question, and you need to use relevant information. You also need to extend upon your answer by providing supporting ideas. Next, you must hold a clear position throughout the response. This means that if you choose a certain side or a certain position, then you need to maintain that position throughout the essay and you need to support this position. In doing this, it is important that you avoid overgeneralization. In other words, you need to use specific information to support your ideas so that your essay can remain focused. Now let's take a look at what you need to do to score well on coherence and cohesion. Firstly, you need to use cohesion in a way that attracts no attention. This means that you need to use cohesive devices naturally. It should not feel like you're forcing them into your writing. They should appear naturally. You also need to do well on paragraphing your essay. Paragraphing mainly refers to formatting your essay in a certain way, and the other part of paragraphing includes structuring your essay in a logical way. The logical organization of the paragraphs within your essay are part of paragraphing. So we'll cover all of this in much more detail in the future lessons. Next, you need to sequence your information and your ideas logically. This means that the ideas that you present should follow a natural order. It should be easy for the reader to follow along with what you're saying and with your ideas and the argument that you're making. In other words, there should be a clear progression throughout your essay. Ideas should logically follow each other. Next, you should use a range of cohesive devices, meaning that you should not underuse certain words or overuse certain words. You should use a wide variety of cohesive devices. And finally, you need to present a clear central topic within each paragraph, meaning that the ideas within your paragraph should remain focused and they should only discuss one main idea at a time. Now let's look at what you need to do to score well on the grammar category. To perform well on the grammar category, firstly, you have to use a wide range of grammatical structures. Grammatical structures include things like the compound sentence, complex sentence, relative pronouns, active voice, passive voice, and so on. We're going to cover all of this in much more detail in the future lessons. Next, you need to make sure that you make very few errors. Take note that it is possible to get a band 9 even if you make some minor errors. However, generally, you should try to avoid as many errors as possible. In other words, the majority of your sentences should be error-free. This means that over 50% of your sentences should not have any mistakes in them. Lastly, you also need to use punctuation correctly. Punctuation includes things like the comma, apostrophe, period, semicolon, and so on. The last category on which you're going to be graded is the lexical resource. In other words, vocabulary. To get a high score on the lexical resource category, you need to use a wide range of vocabulary fluently and naturally. You also need to be able to use vocabulary words to convey precise meanings. This means that you should be able to use a word to mean exactly what you want it to mean. Now, using a wide range of vocabulary also means that you should use some less common lexical items. Less common lexical items just means using vocabulary words that are not very common, words that are infrequently used by the public. In addition to this, you must also use some collocations. Collocations are groups of words that often appear together. They are like a pair, a team that often appears as a group. We're going to look at all of this in a lot more detail in the future lessons. The last thing that you need to do to score well on this category is you need to avoid as many mistakes as possible. It is possible to get a high band even with some minor errors or occasional slips. However, you should try to avoid this, and you need to make sure that your spelling and word formation are correct. So that brings us to the end of this video. In the next lesson, I'm going to show you how this course is structured and what you can expect to learn over the following videos. I'll see you there.